Where are the good men? I know that you're asking this because you run into so many losers. You're just like,
if we continue like this, in 10, 20 years, so many women will be single.
What if I told you by 2030, nearly half of women will be single and childless?
Men are naturally supposed to submit to women.
I'm sure we all know it by now, but modern women are slowly and surely walking to their doom.
Is no one else bothered by the fact that Morgan Stanley predicts that by 2030,
45% of women ages 25 to 44.
If he's not actively pursuing you, he's either not capable. And
as of now, the numbers are higher than 45%, and it's only gonna get worse. Kindly subscribe to the channel as it further supports us in our work. Thank you.
It's not ending well for women. 45% of women by 2030 will be single.
I've been pied 3 times now, and the dates haven't even left the chat.
You know what? If a man wants to get with me, he has to be a 100% provider.
Is nobody talking about the fact that 45% of women are expected to be single by 2030?
Ladies, never ever split the check with a man on a date.
Are you stupid?
Unpopular opinion, okay? I feel like if a man is checking you out, is undressing you with his eyes, he should be charged for that. I feel like he should be charged for that. Honestly, I don't get where all these men get to look at all us beautiful women free. I think men should be charged. If you're going to be looking that fucking long, sir, then you need to send me some money. Yeah. Send me some money. Because you're literally enjoying me for free. That's crazy. That's crazy. You say, oh, why should you ask them? Why should they pay? This is capitalism, honey. Well, actually post-capitalism. Let's just be real. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. Okay?
The level of craziness and delusion just keeps rising, doesn't it? Now this woman is proposing that men should be charged for simply staring at so-called beautiful women. Imagine that, turning something as basic and natural as looking into a punishable offense. This is exactly the kind of nonsense that should be added to the list of reasons why men are walking away and why so many women will end up single by 2030. When women push ideas like this, they're not making themselves more desirable, they're pushing men further away. It creates an atmosphere of fear and resentment where men don't even want to approach, let alone commit. This is why the statistic about 45% of women being single by 2030 makes perfect sense. The culture is actively driving men away, and many men are perfectly fine with that.
Have you guys seen the study that by 2030, 45% of women will be single and childless? I really believe this because the younger generation is looking up to the women that are saying that men ain't shit and it's hot girl summer, and they're looking up to this.
What would you say the woman's role in a relationship is?
Just being in her soft, feminine side of her so that the man can just do everything, basically.
So what would you say is the man's role in a relationship?
To take care of her, make her feel safe,
to build
make her
stuff.
feel loved,
yeah.
make her feel like she's the only girl in the world.
If we continue like this, in 10, 20 years, so many women will be single. I will have so much more work, which is good for me, right?
2030, they say.
Yes. And what will happen is that at some point, women will get so frustrated and they will understand that if you want to have a different outcome, you have to change your behavior. You cannot keep on having the same behavior and expecting to have a better outcome, right?
I agree. If they want something different, their behavior needs to change. But that's not the case with modern women. They believe that they're perfectly fine the way they are. Flawless, perfect. They always say it's the man that needs to change so he can fit into whatever she's got going on. That's why many of them will be single, because change is cancerous to them. They see accountability as an attack, correction as disrespect, and compromise as weakness. Instead of asking, what can I bring to a relationship? The mindset is always, what can a man do for me? That's backwards. Men are waking up to this reality, and instead of bending over backwards to please someone who refuses to adjust, they're walking away. What these women don't understand is that refusing to change doesn't make them strong, it makes them stuck. And being stuck in the same patterns of entitlement, arrogance, and denial is exactly why so many will continue to struggle in love and relationships.
If anyone out there was on the fence about marrying me or proposing to me, I just want to share one huge perk. So if we're ever dating and the time comes and you want to propose, you do not have to worry about me getting my nails done because I always have them done. That is not going to be a factor of the surprise. You're not going to have to strategically plan that. I will have my nails done. You can do the rest, but I just want to get that out there. If that's the reason why anyone was like holding back from dating me or proposing to me, I get it. But my nails, they're ready for a ring. I'm kidding. I'm not yet.
Ladies, never, ever split the check with a man on a date. I was just having a discussion with a girlfriend of mine, and she was saying that she always wants to split the check because she never wants the man to expect anything out of her. You do not owe a man anything for buying you dinner, and buying you dinner is the literal bare minimum. A man paying for your dinner does not mean that he gets a ticket to gain access to your bed, okay? No man is ever entitled to your body, no matter what he does for you.
So there was a study that said 45% of women ages 25 to 44 are going to be single by the year 2030. And you already know that a lot of the guys are going to have an absolute heyday with this. Just another reason to hate on women. But before that happens, I want to talk about the reality of that statistic. It actually makes sense because the average age of people getting married for the first time is going up. Life expectancy is going up. The ability to have a child at an older age has grown thanks to science. And just from a mathematical perspective, if every woman between the ages of 25 to 44 got married at the age of 35, that number would be 50%. And this is just yet another tactic to try to scare women into settling for shitty relationships. To me, being single for the rest of my life is actually not something that terrifies me because I am inherently happy with myself. And I'm not willing to jeopardize my peace and my happiness for a simple relationship with a man who does not treat me or love me the way that I love myself. Because men are going to treat women how they want to treat women. Being single is not the worst thing that can ever happen to you.
Well, I disagree. This isn't a tactic to scare women at all into jumping into relationships. The reality is 45% of women will be single by 2030. That's just where things are headed. And there are many reasons why this is happening. For one, more women are prioritizing careers and independence over family, which often delays marriage or pushes it off completely. At the same time, many women hold out for a very specific type of man, usually the top 10 to 20%, while overlooking the average men around them. This hyper-selectivity creates an imbalance where the majority of women are competing for the same small pool of men. On top of that, traditional marriage has been declining. Divorce, courts, financial risks for men, and changing gender roles have made men far less eager to commit. She stated that men are going to use this as a way to hate women, but it's the opposite. Many men are actually happy that those women will have that choice because they won't have to deal with them anymore. A lot of men have checked out of the dating scene entirely, not out of hate, but out of peace.
My peace and sanity is worth more to me than staying with a woman who is toxic, who is doing nothing but adding drama to my life, who doesn't add any value whatsoever to my life, who's disrespecting me, who doesn't treat me with any type of reverence. I would rather be alone for the rest of my fucking life rather than being with this woman. I don't even want to be around a woman who disrespects me because of how annoying they are.
Every time I have troubles with women, my dad comes up to me and he says, "You're working twice as hard as I did for a woman that's 4 times worse than your mother. So what does that tell you?"
Is no one else bothered by the fact that Morgan Stanley predicts that by 2030, 45% of women aged 25 to 44 are going to be single? Like, I'm over here cooking for one, very much bothered about that. I don't know, like, I'd rather cook for 2 or maybe like 3 potentially in the future, but not just like one person. So I don't know, I really need to be even more intentional about dating now that I've been back in Scottsdale for 2 weeks. For now, it is solo dinners cooking for one.
I mean, it is what it is. And the thing is, this is only getting worse. Many women are celebrating them being single by 2030. But what they don't realize is that things will be worse for them. Even this woman is worried about that. Hence why she's saying now she's dating with the intention of finding a man, because she wants a family. She's realizing that time is not on her side, and while many women are still living in denial, she's trying to correct course before it's too late. Right now, it might feel like freedom, independence, and choice, but down the line, reality will hit harder. The attention they once had will fade, the options they once boasted about will shrink, and the lifestyle they thought was empowering will turn into isolation. The so-called flex of being single won't feel the same when loneliness starts creeping in, when there's no partner to build with, and when the consequences of years of temporary fun catch up. By then, the very same women who mocked relationships and celebrated being single will be the ones searching for companionship the most, except it won't be as easy to find anymore.
Your most attractive friends are single. Yep, here's why.
Yeah. Why is that?
I know you know. I know you're thinking of that one friend, like that one Becky that you're like, she's hot as fuck, but she literally has never had a boyfriend.
There's usually a very good reason for that. But let's hear what their opinion is first.
Yeah, here's why. The boys, the men, the Jimmy, the John, the James are all afraid of getting their ego hurt, okay? Men go for who they can.
That's what they think the reason is? Oh dear.
And women go for who they want. And when you go for someone that you want, not knowing if they want you back, sometimes you get rejected.
Okay.
But because men are so scared of getting their ego hurt, they won't go for someone that they think will say no to them or will reject them.
A lot of women have actually convinced themselves of this.
Because God forbid, Jimmy John Jr. has to get rejected. How is he going to explain that to his friends? He thinks he's Mucho Man.
Just wait.
Girls don't just go for what they can. They have standards and they don't just go for, the bottom of the barrel, but men settle, and that's the truth.
Now here's the part that a lot of women that think like this are not going to like hearing. But a lot of men will not approach very attractive women because oftentimes their personalities do not match their looks. And most men would rather date and be with a woman that treats them well and is kind to them and is a good person rather than just attractive. They'll date them for a good time, but not for a long time.
Yeah, I freaking hope so. Because we don't need you. We don't want you. We want more. We want better. We actually want to have orgasms and not be expected to provide food, housekeeping, child rearing, therapy, and a variety of other forms of labor that men expect their partners to perform for them. Yeah, most women will probably be single by 2030, if the world hasn't exploded by then.
Oh, the delusions today's modern women live under. They're real, very real. The fact of the matter is that women are ending up alone and childless, not because they want to or are choosing to. Oh no, my friends. The reality that today's modern women are struggling to cope with is the absolute fact that men are walking away, rejecting dating, rejecting relationships, rejecting marriage, and ultimately rejecting them, and all women for that matter. And instead of taking responsibility and acknowledging that it's their toxicity, their never-ending ridiculous expectations and demands, and narcissism that is largely to blame, they come up with drivel like this to help them cope. The bottom line is, men have realized that today's modern women have nothing, literally nothing to offer in a relationship. And it's the real reason why all these women are going to end up sad, bitter, and alone. But hey, my stock in cat food companies is up over 30% just this year. So that's a plus.
Of course, none of these women are ever going to come out and admit that this single by choice narrative is just a coping mechanism, because if they did, it would force them to take accountability. And accountability is the one thing most of them run from. The reality is that delusion, unrealistic standards, and entitlement are the true driving forces behind this. Many women walk around with a laundry list of demands for men, expecting a six-figure income, perfect looks, height requirements, status, and a lifestyle they themselves can't even provide. You hear women say all the time, "I won't settle. If he can't do it, then the next man will." But the harsh reality is, the next man never comes. These women quite literally single themselves out of the dating market. By rejecting, dismissing, and not settling, they thought they were raising their standards, but in reality, they priced themselves out of the very thing they wanted: a long-term committed relationship.
If you're talking to a really fine guy who has a good personality, and you're wondering, like, how is he single? Like, he's really hot and he has a really good personality. Why is he single? It's one of three things. Number one being, he's either crazy as fuck or like weird, and you just haven't gotten to it yet. Number two is, he's not single. Okay? You just think he's single because he's cheating. And number three, he's newly single and will be taking his ex back expeditiously after y'all fuck. So, watch out for that one. You're welcome.
Men are naturally supposed to submit to women, period, point blank. Men like hierarchy. That's why they're in the military. That's why they like boy groups, etc., etc. Okay? If you're not his boss, he assumes the boss position. That cannot be. That means you need to tap into your dark feminine. How do you tap into your dark feminine? You know damn well that you're the boss and nobody's above you ever under any circumstance. A man has come out of a woman and will always want to go back inside a woman. So you're always in charge, meaning that he always submits to you. He follows your lead if he wants back in. Do you understand? You can end lineages. That's your power. So fucking sit in it and stop fucking pretending that you're a little girl who doesn't have it. I'm tired of your shit. I'm gonna call you out. Get it together, ladies. You do not, under any circumstances, go under him. You never ever submit to him. Period. Point blank. Do you understand? If you do that, it's going to be very hard to get out of that position when you're not in your power. You give out commands, okay? When he comes to you, your energy needs to speak that you are the boss. The way that your energy speaks is when that man comes up to you, is he asking how to serve you? Is he asking, what is it that I can do for you? How can I help you? How can I assist you? That means you're leading. That means you're in the right space. That means you are in your feminine energy, right? If you're not, then you're the one that's asking him what you can do for him. That is not how it goes. He serves you. You don't serve him. When you serve him, he assumes now he's the boss. Now you got a problem on your hands. I warned you. You never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, lack discipline. You run the show, not him. Never him.
Every day, it's a new thing. Now this woman is saying that men are naturally supposed to submit to women. What are you talking about, lady? Where is this even coming from? This is the problem right here. Modern women keep rewriting biology, rewriting history, and rewriting gender roles to fit whatever narrative makes them feel good in the moment. Men were never designed to submit to women. Men are leaders, protectors, and providers by nature. Women were designed to be nurturers, supporters, and to bring balance to a man's life. That doesn't mean one role is more valuable than the other. It means they complement each other. But when you flip the script and start demanding that men bow down, you destroy the natural order that keeps relationships stable. This is why so many modern relationships collapse. Because instead of partnership, women are pushing domination. Instead of respect, they're pushing control. And the crazy part is, they don't even realize that the very thing they're demanding is exactly why men are walking away. No man wants to submit to a woman who brings nothing but entitlement and attitude to the table.
Females don't care about what happens to you financially, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, unless it directly affects them. If it doesn't directly affect them, they do not care. For females, they never really get that hung up over a guy losing him, whatever happens to him. Say he gets like his ass kicked in a fight, he ends up in a hospital. She doesn't really care unless it directly affects her. Like if she can't like extract any more like financial resources out of him or emotional resources or mental resources, she's just not going to care, right? If he's no longer doing it for her, she's definitely not going to care what happens to him, right? He could get hit by a bus or a truck. right? As we're out here on Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Strip. She's just not going to give a shit.
How does that look like for you? You live in LA. I feel like it's maybe more difficult. I don't know.
Are you single?
I am single.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then maybe it goes for both of us.
Okay.
But this is so funny because I was actually just talking to my girlfriends about this. This is a very prominent conversation in all of our lives. Is like, I look around and I see beautiful, successful, intelligent, well-rounded, well-grounded, spiritual women who are fantastic, like caretakers, lovers. They're sexy, they're fun, they're adventurous. And I'm like, why are all these girls single? It's like an epidemic of hot, single, successful women. And we haven't been able to like figure it out. And mind you, LA is an extremely tough place to date. This is a known thing. It's very hard to date in Los Angeles for a multitude of reasons. But I've found that recently I've been dating casually, and there's different types of men, because when you do have this online persona, when you're beautiful, when you're successful, when you're smart and driven, it can be intimidating and deterring to some men.
Not to men. Not to men, to boys.
Yeah, that part, to the boys, right?
So it's like...
I found that a lot of men, they just get intimidated when you are a successful woman. And it's funny, you can see them look stressed when they know that you don't need them. And it's definitely affected a lot of people's love lives. I can see it around me. And mind you, though, there are a lot of confident men that love it. Like, I'm actually currently saying this very confident man who loves my mindset, my growth mindset, and really values my opinion. And if anything, he's like, let's build this empire together, versus the boy who would be like, oh, like, she doesn't need me. Like, oh, I don't want that. So there is a lot of like differentiation there, but it's very evident.
So I have a question.
Men and women have a very different definition of what a well-rounded, sexy, fantastic woman actually is when it comes to dating seriously. A lot of women judge each other by surface-level traits, looks, fashion, career, independence, or even how many followers they have. So when a woman looks at her friends and says, "Why are these women single? They're flawless, they're perfect," what she really means is, "They look good to me." But men don't think like that when it comes to choosing a long-term partner. Sure, beauty might attract a man, but beauty alone doesn't keep him. Men look at qualities like peace, femininity, cooperation, respect, and loyalty. If a woman is combative, entitled, masculine in her energy, or constantly competing with him, it doesn't matter how sexy she looks. He's not going to commit. That's the disconnect. Women see other women as perfect on the outside, but men see the things that really matter on the inside.
Do you want to know what I think the problem is with men these days? I'll tell you. As a woman in her late 30s, I truly just don't really date anymore. I really don't. It's just not worth it, because most of you men out here, and I'm not going to speak for all of you, I don't need you all in my comments saying, "Not me." I think most of you are just on the DL. It's okay to admit it. A lot of you are just too prideful to just admit it, because let's be real, most of you don't even like women. Like, you hate us. Want to know why I've come to this conclusion? Because I've had not one, not two, not three, but 4 men in the last year or so bring up butt stuff, telling me that they would try it, telling me that they have tried it and liked it. Like, why would you bring that up if you don't? It's okay. Just be true to who you are. If you don't like women, just say that. Just my random thoughts of the day.
What are you talking about?
Fast forward to 2024. We have the same thing happening now, where
pop stars and fashion magazines and influencers are really vehemently pushing this feminist pro-abortion agenda to their young women audiences. After decades and decades of messaging these values, I guess you could call them, it's not ending well for women. 45% of women by 2030 will be single and childless, and 1 in 4 women now are on SSRIs. Those are two statistics that I say a lot because to me, that is just mind-blowing. Most women in the near future are not going to have a husband or a child, which if you just project your life out, that is sad. It's just objectively really, really sad. And that women are on antidepressants at a much higher rate than men are. And also too, now that we've voted and advocated for all of this, not only that, but like women now are potentially going to be drafted to the front lines of a World War III in order to pay off their student loans. So all of that was part of the feminist movement. It's equality. It truly is literally the equal right to become indebted, to get an education that is largely useless, to literally eventually be drafted into the army. Women are the most beautiful, the most innocent, there is something about a woman that you can only get in a woman. And a large part of the war on beauty is the war on women and on the destruction of innocence. All of the most unique, divine, wonderful parts of womanhood are being crushed. They are being crushed and erased and labeled as bad.
It is sad, and I spoke about this a couple months back as well, that a lot of women are on antidepressant pills, and that's because even though they have all the options and choices in the world, they still aren't happy. They can travel, party, make money, date around, and still at the end of the day, there's an emptiness they can't escape. Having endless freedom isn't the same as having purpose. The issue for what's happening now is feminism, women hating men, and the projection that 45% of women will be single. All of these things connect. Feminism taught women that men are the enemy, that depending on a man is weakness, and that chasing career and independence is the ultimate win. But what has it really produced? Loneliness, broken homes, and women silently struggling behind closed doors while pretending everything is fine on the outside. When nearly half of women are projected to be single, that's not empowerment. That's a crisis. And the sad part is, many will not admit that the ideology they embraced is what led them there.
The way our society is built at the moment and with the structures that are in place, it's very much still built with the traditional framework of needing to find a partner and living your life with that partner. However, the situation is that by 2030, 45% of women between 30 and 45 are going to be single. And that means that a lot of us are going to be single, at least for a very long time of our life and for a big period of our life. And that means that we have to be the ones that we depend on, which is something that's, for some, very normal and very natural. And for some, it's something that's out of the comfort zone and out of the story that they've been told and the narratives that they've heard their entire lives, which makes us ill-prepared.
My dad said it seems like young men don't want to get married anymore, and I wanted to ask the internet why that might be. Like, I definitely have ideas of why it might be, but I'd rather hear from real people. It's also interesting that it coincides with that statistic that's been thrown around a lot lately, which is that 40% of women of marriageable age are going to be single by the year 2030. And what's interesting is it's by choice. Like, we're all choosing not to do this anymore. And I know that for a lot of women, myself included, there's a lot of hesitancy because we've been hurt and we're afraid. So I'm curious, what is it from the male perspective? Or do you think all of this is just like a consequence of the culture we live in now with like hookup culture and the internet? I don't know. Let me know what I should tell my dad. Thanks.
Well, of course, young men don't want to be married. From their perspective, they're seeing everything in 4K. Their fathers, family members, and even friends losing everything. They've seen men work themselves to the bone, provide for their families, sacrifice their youth, and still end up divorced, broken, and starting from zero. And on top of that, they're constantly hearing the stories of other men who went through the same thing. So why would a young man rush into marriage when to him it looks like a trap? Many women claim to be single by choice. And yes, maybe a very small percentage of that is true. But the majority are single because they couldn't find the guy they were searching for. They passed up on the men who were interested when they were younger, thinking they could hold out for something better, only to realize later that the options they once had are gone. That's when the single by choice narrative comes in. It's more of a coping mechanism than the truth.
So women between the ages of 25 and 44 are estimated to be single and childless by 2030. Let that sink in right now. Okay, thoughts? Okay, so Stanley Morgan, a global financial service firm, published a research indicating that in 2030, women, working women between the ages of 25 and 44 will be single and childless. What are your thoughts on that? I believe it's this hookup culture. I believe it's the fact that we have social atrophy and there's so much to it. Finances, like it's now we have to work twice as hard to get where we need to be. It's just, this economy sucks. So tell me your thoughts.
They're predicting that 40% of women will be single by the year 2030.
Are we really shocked by this though? Because most women and men would rather be in the woods with a bear than a man. Honestly, what I've really noticed is women are starting to put themselves first. They don't want to put up with these pathetic situationships or dating culture, casual sex culture. They want to put themselves first. They have goals and aspirations. They're actually questioning, do I want to have kids or not? And they're okay with questioning it. They're traveling the world. They're doing things that they love. They're making the money. They're providing for themselves. They're happy. They have great friends around them. Like, really, what do we need men for? That's the question. Because even if we wanted to reproduce, we could. We wouldn't have to be in a relationship for it. So, yeah, it kind of makes sense to me that 40% of women will be single. And it's not a negative. It's probably by choice.
Women wouldn't have to be in situationships or casual sex culture if they didn't make it so. That's literally the choice feminism gave them. And apparently, that choice is hurting them. If that's the reason they're supposedly expected to be single by 2030, according to this woman, then they really have themselves to blame because sexual liberation damaged them. Feminism sold women the idea that casual sex was empowerment, that giving themselves away freely without commitment meant freedom. But in reality, it only benefited the small percentage of men who never intended to commit in the first place. And it always amazes me how women will turn around and say, "What do we need men for?" As if men haven't built the very world they live in. From the infrastructure to the technology to the safety they rely on daily, men's contributions are everywhere.
Men are having a huge issue this day and age with being completely entitled but having no right to be. Like, they literally do not have a leg to stand on, but they will sit there and act like they are the prize and we should be sitting here begging them for attention. Meanwhile, we have a male loneliness epidemic where women, myself included, are finding that it is much more peaceful, we're even more successful and happier the further away we are from men. Anyway, if you want to go viral, piss off men.
Women are just straight up opting out of men, marriage, and babies. 45% of women who are childbearing age will be intentionally single and child-free by 2030, which, if you actually believe that demonstrably false claim that marriage is terrible for dudes, then you should celebrate. Well, the question about whether they're intentionally single and childless by 2030, there's two sides to that coin, right? A lot of women are single and childless at 30 by that point in time because they couldn't find somebody who would actually commit to them because they've done whatever else in their life that they couldn't be acceptable to the kind of man that they want. And they would rather go it alone than to settle.
I've actually said this before and I'll say it again. There are many reasons why this is happening. Many of these women aren't single by choice. In fact, single by choice is often just a coping mechanism. It's a way to save face after they couldn't secure the type of man they really wanted. Or they couldn't get a man to take them seriously and commit, like this man mentioned. The truth is, nobody dreams of being alone. Most of these women wanted marriage, family, and stability at some point. But because of the choices they made in their 20s and early 30s, chasing the wrong men, rejecting the good men, or getting caught up in hookup culture, now they're facing the consequences. Instead of admitting that, it's easier to rebrand singleness as empowerment or a flex. But let's be real, if it was truly a flex, they wouldn't constantly be talking about it, debating it, and trying to convince others that they're happy. You don't have to defend a choice you're genuinely content with.